Sanu. That chant is something I will never forget. Growing up going to Rutgers games as a kid, you would hear it multiple times a game. The fans chanted Sanu every time he made a catch. It was awesome. Now, Mohamed Sanu is helping innovate Sierra Leone, where he grew up as a kid. This is the story of the greatest Rutgers wide receiver of all time. This is the story of Mohamed Sanu. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I plan to release a video every day from now until Christmas. Also, let me know what your favorite story has been in college football this year in the comment section below. Mohamed Sanu was born on August 22, 1989 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and grew up in Sayreville. As a child, he spent time in Sierra Leone, where his family was originally from, before returning to the US and living in Dayton, New Jersey. He was legally adopted by his sister and her husband before he began attending South Brunswick High School, where his football career began. At South Brunswick, his athleticism shined as he could do everything on the football field as well as for the track team. He could throw the ball on a rope for 70 yards, punted the ball, served as a kicker on kickoff, and just did anything his team needed him to do. One day during high school, he was screwing around during track practice and decided to start throwing the javelin since the team had lost their star at the position. Rick Mance, his former high school coach, told the NJ.com back in 2017, "So Mo picks up the javelin, I kid you not, and he broke the school record in his first day. It was unbelievable. The kid could do anything. He'd play volleyball at the tail end of his junior year just because it was a challenge for him. He just annihilated the ball. It was mind-boggling." Mance arrived to South Brunswick in 2017 via a successful 12-year run at Hillsborough High School. South Brunswick was not a very good football program at the time, only making the playoffs once in the previous 30 years. Mance recalls meeting Mohamed saying, "I remember vividly walking through the building after I was hired. I went to the coach's office and started looking at film, and Mohamed came in to introduce himself. He goes, 'My name is Mohamed Sanu,' and I said, 'I know who you are.' 'Coach, I will do everything and anything I can to help us get better,' he said. He just started coming in and hanging around. In between school, basketball practice, he was just a gym rat. The happiest and most positive kid I have ever met, and you have to love a kid like that." Sanu started at quarterback for South Brunswick's triple option offense, and in his lone season of playing for Mance, he threw for 900 passing yards and rushed for 700 yards while also serving as the team's kicker. He was named All-Greater Middlesex Conference and led South Brunswick to their first playoff appearance in almost 3 decades. Sanu was a leader for the team, with his former head coach saying, "For all the struggles South Brunswick had, he was never down on anybody. He never blamed anybody. He just wanted to be a part of the solution. The thing I was most impressed by was how he'd do whatever it took to help his teammates get better, helping them off the ground, encouraging them to watch film and stick around for extra coaching, staying on them about their grades. He was a competitor. Losing was not part of his DNA. He'd be intense, but yet he was also very respectful and a gentleman." Unfortunately, Sanu turned 19 a week before the 2008 season, so he was ruled ineligible for his senior year. While some players may have gone on and played at a prep school or an alternate route, Sanu wanted to still help South Brunswick any way he could. He practiced with the team every week, serving as the scout team quarterback, and helped them go 9-2 that year. Mance explained that decision saying, "We thought about trying to get him to play somewhere as a senior, but to do that he'd have to transfer out of school, and wherever he went as a senior, he would have had to spend the entire year for him to graduate." Rutgers head coach Greg Schiano was excited about Mo coming in early. "We knew immediately, based on his age, that he wasn't going to be able to play his senior year. So we put a plan together and started to speed up his academics so he could enroll at Rutgers in January of 2008. Before his high school career had come to an end, and before he turned 19, he played in the Nike New York vs. New Jersey All-Star Classic, where he was coached by former New York Giants legend Phil Simms. Simms watched as Sanu moved all over the field, making plays and throwing the ball, but described him as an athlete, not a quarterback. Sanu led New Jersey to the win after throwing a 55-yard touchdown to finish his high school career before he became ineligible. Although he was not able to play his senior year, according to 24/7 Sports Composite, Mohamed Sanu was still a 3-star recruit who was the 21st best player in New Jersey and 701st best player nationally for the 2009 recruiting class. He received 5 different offers from UConn, Penn State, Rutgers, Syracuse, and West Virginia. Sanu chose to stay close to home and play for Greg Schiano and Rutgers. When Sanu first arrived at Rutgers, the coaching staff did not know where they were going to put him. He basically could play anywhere he wanted and had the tools to be special wherever he was. He enrolled early and spent 12 practices playing safety before switching to wide receiver because the team needed more. He made an impact right off the bat, catching 10 passes in his first game and finishing with over 100 receiving yards. He also served as the team's Wildcat quarterback. Sanu finished his freshman season with 51 receptions for 639 yards and 3 touchdowns, while also having 346 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground and a passing touchdown. Rutgers finished the year 9-4 and beat UCF in the St. Petersburg Bowl 45-24. With quarterback Chas Dodd and Tom Savage throwing to him, Sanu finished his sophomore year with 44 receptions for 418 yards and rushed for 409 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground, while also throwing for 3 touchdowns as well. Rutgers struggled going 4-8, and Schiano realized that maybe he shouldn't have Sanu playing 3 different positions at once. In Sanu's first 2 seasons at Rutgers, Schiano found ways to get him the ball as much as possible. He actually had more rushing attempts than receptions until Schiano decided he would be more effective and less subject to peril at wide receiver. The decision paid off for Mo, Schiano, and Rutgers, as the 2011 season would be his breakout year. Schiano explained, he only works on the wide receiver technique, just sheer repetition, and when you're dealing with an athlete of Mo's stature, the more you can fine-tune it, the more you could build his understanding and football IQ at that position, the more dominant he can become. Even with sophomore Chas Dodd and freshman Gary Nova as his quarterback, Sanu went off. 13 receptions for 119 yards against North Carolina, 16 receptions for 176 yards and 2 touchdowns against Ohio, 9 receptions for 133 yards against UConn. He had 6 games with over 10 receptions and 7 games with over 100 receiving yards. Rutgers finished the year 9-4, while Sanu finished with the school record and conference record of 115 receptions for 1,206 yards and 7 touchdowns. The Scarlet Knights would beat Iowa State in the Pinstripe Bowl 27-13, and throughout the season, Sanu skyrocketed up draft boards. He finished his Rutgers career with a Big East record 210 receptions for 2,263 yards and 12 touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns and 653 rushing yards, and 9 touchdowns on the ground. He decided to forego his senior year at Rutgers and enter the 2012 NFL Draft. This was a tough decision for him because he truly loved Rutgers. He had broken records held by Kenny Britt and Larry Fitzgerald, so there was not much left for him to do. All his coaches told him to go, and it seemed like he had maxed out his draft stock, but he still struggled to make the decision. Many expected him to be a second-round pick, and during the first round, he received a phone call from what he thought to be the Cincinnati Bengals with the 27th pick. They told him he was going to be a Bengal. While Sanu celebrated, he watched the television tell him that the Bengals had selected guard Kevin Zeitler. The call was a prank, and Sanu would have to go back on the couch and wait. What is wrong with people? Like, how fucked up is that? Sanu would instead drop to the 83rd pick, where he would actually be drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati needed a wide receiver opposite second-year player A.J. Green for Andy Dalton. CBS Sports' Rob Rang raved about Sanu's readiness for the NFL, saying, "There are plenty of receivers in the 2012 draft with greater speed and natural playmaking ability than Sanu. But for the money, few are safer NFL prospects than the former Rutgers star. And Sanu is better prepared than most collegiate receivers to make the NFL jump." Sanu would turn out to be a steal for the Bengals. In his 4 years with the Bengals, he had 152 receptions for 1,793 yards and 11 touchdowns, while also rushing for 2 touchdowns and passing for 2 more. In 2016, the 6'2", 210-pounder morphed into a reliable number 2 receiver and chose to sign with the Atlanta Falcons, hauling in 59 receptions for 653 yards and 4 touchdowns during the regular season. In 2018, he had a career-high 66 receptions for 838 yards and 4 touchdowns, while also throwing for a touchdown as well. He was traded to the Patriots in 2019 and finished his career jumping from the 49ers, Detroit Lions, and Miami Dolphins. Sanu left the NFL in 2022 and now is working with his mother to run a nonprofit organization called Develop Africa, which has commenced construction on a new 3-story community center that will help countless people. Sanu explained, "It's inevitable that football is going to end one day. So truth be told, football is not my purpose in life. It's a stepping stone to fulfill my purpose in life of being an agent of change and making a difference. This community center is one of the biggest responsibilities of my life. It will bring together people who inspire each other, and they will stand at the testament to our long-term investment in the community. Beyond the bricks and mortar, the building will transform by the energy and passion of people who visit, professionals, volunteers, staff, and families. He hopes to provide computers for the locals and hopes to help enrich their lives. He closed out by saying, "When complete, the community center's first floor will include individual workspaces, allowing locals to have a place to run their businesses. The second floor will feature a large hall for community events such as school graduations, banquets, weddings, and various Develop Africa educational and leadership events. The third floor is the most important space in the center, highlighted by a state-of-the-art computer training center that will provide computer and leadership training for thousands of children, kids, and adults. Mohamed Sanu is a true Rutgers legend and is now changing the world off the field. I am so blessed I got to grow up watching him. What do you think? Is Mohamed Sanu the greatest Rutgers receiver of all time? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more college football content. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.